All right. Hello, everybody. We're back. I'm trying to see if this is going to pop up so I can watch you guys' comments. There we go. Okay. Trying to see if this is going to, whoops. Hang on. Pop up so I can watch you. Okay, there we go. Now, we are doing modeling chocolate. We're going to do regular chocolate and candy melts. The method that I use is actually from Casey Lackey with Innovative Sugar Works. I'm sure you've heard of them. But I do use her method just because it's pretty much foolproof. A lot of the times with the modeling chocolate, you'll see that they use the microwave. My only problem with this is it can leave little bits inside of your finished modeling chocolate that you either have to work around, try to work back in, or it just kind of ruins it. You don't have a smooth, nice modeling chocolate to use. So this is why I use this method that I'm going to show you guys today. And let's turn around so you can see what I've got going over here. I just have a medium-sized sauce pot that has a little bit of water in the bottom because I'm going to turn it into a double boiler. I have one of my kitchen-made bowls here, and you just want to make sure that your bowl is not going to touch your water. And then you also don't really want the water boiling. Right now there's a couple of little tiny bubbles down in there, and of course the steam, but you don't want to have it at a boil because when you put that bowl on top of that pot, it's going to trap a lot of that heat in there and it will start to come to a little bit of a boil. But you don't want this to get too hot because you're going to ruin your chocolate. Then you're going to ruin your modeling chocolate. So I made a dark chocolate one before we started just so that I could have it ready to go and show you guys what to do with it. But it's exactly the same method as I'm going to do with the white chocolate. I also have the recipe written in grams, and I'll post this recipe after the live is over. But and I can't see who's in here with me, but hello everybody. I don't know why it's not popping up now. Anyways, I will have the recipe in grams, and I know we have a lot of people overseas that maybe can't get corn syrup, so you can also use glucose with a little bit of water. I have those measurements too, and I'll put those with the recipe as well. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to put my bowl on my pot. Oh, hello, Christina. And I have my white chocolate chips. And I have 300 grams or 1 3/4 cups of white chocolate. Hello, Deborah. Hello, Kelly. So what we're going to do is just mix this around while it's melting. I can hear my water starting to boil, and just listen for that, because if it starts to get too hot, like I said, you can quickly ruin your chocolate. You can even lift it up and check it every little bit and just turn it down a little bit if you need to. Hello, Valerie. Hello, Jean. Alright, so I'm going to stir this. Just continue to mix it around and get it all melted. I'm also going to get a couple of paper towels, or a kitchen towel will work too. And hello Janelle, hello Joe. I'm going to put these paper towels over here to the side, and I'll explain why in just a second. So we're just going to keep mixing this up. Okay, now one thing is, I'm going to tell you this before we get a whole lot further, is if you're going to be using all red, you want the whole thing colored, you can add the coloring into your corn syrup, and that's going to help you color your chocolate a little bit faster. If you're going to want, to color it after you get done with it, you want to, several different colors or something like that, I'll show you how to mix that in. It's very easy. It's just like coloring fondant. No, Deborah, this is just Ghirardelli white chocolate. It's not tempered. It's just straight out of the bag, the chocolate chips. And the dark chocolate that I use, or semi-sweet chocolate that I use, is just Nestle semi-sweet chocolate chips. Hello, Laura. Okay, so that's all of my lumps are gone. I'm going to take this and put it right here on my paper towels. You see my little bubbles going here. And then you're going to need 150 grams or a half a cup of corn syrup. I'm going to pop that into the microwave for about 30 seconds. You just want to get it warmed up. Joe, that was 300 grams or 1 3/4 cups of white chocolate. And I will post the recipe, the written out recipe, after I'm done with the live. Now, the reason that I set my bowl aside here with my chocolate is because while you're heating your corn syrup, you don't want that to get any hotter than it already is. You're welcome. So now, you can see that got pretty liquidy, which is what you want. What I'm going to do is pour it right in there. And we are going to continue mixing this. Now, usually, if you're doing like the microwave version, you would stop like right there, and that would be it for you. But I don't really like doing it that way because it leaves a lot of oil pockets and chunks, and it just really does not work out well, which is why I started using, hello Melissa, which is why I started using Casey's method, because it produces a much better modeling chocolate. I'm going to turn my heat down just a little bit because I can hear it bubbling away in there. So all we're doing is we're just folding this. And it's going to get shiny and beautiful. It's glossy, but it's not oily. You're not going to see, a ton of oil coming off of it, which is another reason I don't like doing it in the microwave, is if it's very easy to overwork in the microwave and you get a whole bunch of that cocoa butter that will come out of that chocolate and you can't ever get it incorporated back in there. It's just a pain. This way just works, like I said, so much better. Okay, now what I'm going to do is take this back off the heat. I'm going to move my camera over here. I have a pan with plastic wrap on it, and it's just what I'm going to put my chocolate onto. Now again, very important, your bowl is going to be wet on the bottom from that double boiler. what you want to do is wipe all that water off. If that water drips down into your chocolate, it will ruin it. So I'm going to take this chocolate and I'm going to get it right into my pan. See how pretty that is? I love it. I'm just going to spread it out because it is pretty hot right now. And obviously you can't work with it when it's hot. So if you spread it out, it's going to cool down much more quickly. Oops. Yes, you can use melts, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. This is chocolate chips, and I'll post the recipe as soon as the live is done. So I got this spread out in the pan, and what I'm going to do is take my sides of my plastic wrap, and I'm going to try not to get a ton of air bubbles in there. If a few happen, it's totally okay. And like I said, it's pretty hot, so don't burn yourself. I'll bring my other side over here and pull my edges up. Now, what I like to do is let this set overnight. That's the best way to really have it work out. If you can, see, I just picked it up and flipped it over. It's still very soft, but I just wanted to show you guys kind of what that looks like. If you have the time to let it set overnight, that's how I generally like to do it. You can also pop it in the fridge for like 30 minutes. I do have some in the fridge that is a dark chocolate, and I will show it to you guys. But for reference, this is one that I did about 2 months ago. This does have like an incredibly long shelf life, but it will turn very hard. And that's okay. Don't like pull it out of the cabinet and freak out and throw it away. You can still use this. Don't throw it away. Like I said, it lasts, and you just pull off what you need and reuse it. I like to pop it in the microwave for like 8 seconds and then knead it together. I'm going to grab the dark chocolate one I did, or semi-sweet chocolate one I did. So I made this one this morning, and hello Melissa, hello Susie, whoever else I've missed. I made this morning, and I put it in the fridge, so you can see it's much more sturdy than, of course, this is, which is what I just made. This is very soft. You're not going to be able to do anything with this yet. Like I said, you can put it in the fridge, and I am going to do that just so I can show you guys. Okay. So both of these are made with chocolate chips. Actual chocolate. The candy melt version is much easier to do in the microwave if that's the way you want to do it. But I would not suggest doing the real chocolate in the microwave just because you're not going to get that perfectly smooth, foolproof chocolate, modeling chocolate that you want. It just is much easier to do over the double broiler like I showed you. You just have a better success rate with it. Alright, I'm going to show you guys how to do it with the with the modeling chocolate while this sets for a minute. And then I'll show y'all how to do the chocolate roses. So if you're using candy melts, you're going to be using the same measurements, but you're going to be making it in the microwave instead. Sorry, I'm just rinsing out my measuring cup here. Thank you, Deborah. Oh, I'll also show y'all how to, if you want to roll it out and use it on the cookies, that's very easy also. This basically can replace fondant. I model with it. I mean, you saw in the picture. What brand of candy melts do you prefer? Honestly, I usually just buy these, the Choco Maker at Walmart, because it works, and it's usually pretty cheap too. It's readily available and it works. Good, Connie, I'm happy. So again, with this, we're gonna go and I'm not super careful measuring the candy melt. The candy melts do give you a little bit more of it's a little bit easier because you can do it in the microwave, and I don't know, it's not as hard to mess up as real chocolate, but if you do the method like I showed with the double boiler, it will come out right, and you will get a really nice modeling chocolate, and it is real chocolate. No. Okay, sorry, one of my kids just came in. Okay, so the 2.5 cups was the candy melts. And I will have, like I said, I will have the recipe for both types, candy melts and real chocolate. So you can choose which one you want to do. Like I said, I did both because I know some people can't get the candy melts. And also, I do have the alternative for the corn syrup because I know some of us can't get the corn syrup. So I have that alternative in there. Alright, so I'm going to pop this in the microwave for about a minute and stir it around. And another big tip is when you're making modeling chocolate, no matter if you're making it the real chocolate with the double boiler or microwave with a bowl, use a silicone spatula, even plastic if you have to, although you could easily melt that. Don't use a wooden spoon. You will lose that wooden spoon. Definitely use the spatula. I'm just waiting on this microwave to get done. And like I said, I'll have this recipe as well as any new recipes I post in grams, as well as the like cups. So I'm just going to stir this around. It's obviously not melted all the way. And I guess another plus with the candy melts is you can buy them already colored, so it kind of saves a step in there. I just did that for 1 minute. And once I get this mixed up, I'll go for another minute. So yeah, like I said, being able to buy colored candy melts already does help, but I'm just not a huge fan of the candy melts. I'd rather use the real chocolate. And like I said before, it is a great way to upsell in your business. The chocolate, you can easily store it for a year. I made this before Christmas, and it's still perfectly fine to eat. It has a great shelf life. I make sure to wrap it in the plastic wrap, and then I put it in a airtight container. And like I said, months on end. This was a huge batch I had made, but I had this little bit left to show you guys, and I'll even work with a little so you could see. It will harden up. It is hard, but you just pop it in the microwave for a few seconds and it'll soften right back up. Alright, so that was another minute. You don't want to put this in the microwave and just start it off, at like 3 minutes, because it's going to get too hot and it's going to ruin the whole mixture. You can overheat chocolate. And yes, Deborah, upselling. It's perfect. And for those people who are like, I don't like fondant. I don't want fondant on my cake. Well, I can use modeling chocolate, but it does cost more. But it tastes better. I mean, it's chocolate. It's a perfect way. And using it on the cookies instead of fondant. I've never fully understood the fondant on the cookies. The modeling chocolate, yes, I can understand that because it would be absolutely delicious. The camera went off. Alright. I'm just going to go about another 30 seconds on that. And I do know a lot of the cottage laws are not going to let you sell the chocolate covered strawberries, which is why I'm going to show you how to also just do just a chocolate strawberry. But the chocolate covered strawberries are pretty for pictures. Susie, yes, you would have tons of sweets to eat. They're great for pictures or even just for your family. I mean, they're fun. Okay, so because I want to show you guys sometimes things go wrong, and I'm going to be realistic, that's why I do these lives. My candy melts are like trying to seize a little on me, but it got a little too hot in one spot. I can feel my bowl just like incredibly hot over here. Also, another thing is a glass bowl is the best way to do this because, your plastic bowls get residues very easily, and that can quickly ruin your chocolate. But like I said, I'm going to show you guys how to fix these types of things. I do still have quite a few lumps in here. Aletta, it's not up yet. When the live is over, I will have it up, and I'll post the link with the live. So it is cooling back down, and it's starting to thin out a little bit better for me. But like I was saying, this is why I'm not a huge fan of doing the microwave version, because you can't really control your heat as well. You're welcome. It's just much easier to do it over the double broiler. I'm just trying to work out these last little bits of unmelted chocolate in here. And for those of you just joining us, this is the candy melt version. This is chocolate, and I have some in the fridge that I'll get out in a minute to see how it's firming up. And also, for those of you that will be watching the little spontaneous live that we scheduled for tomorrow, I'll be doing my daughter's birthday cake, and it's actually going to have a modeling chocolate dog coming out of like a box, which will be the cake. So you'll be able to see a little bit of modeling chocolate figures being made. And also, I'll show how I put my cakes together. It will already be a baked cake. How do you pronounce your name? Ken, like the doll. My name is actually Kendall, but Ken. Yes. You're welcome, Kelly. All right, so I got all the little bits out of there. And I'm just filling the bottom of my bowl because this chocolate is still pretty hot. All right, so I am going to warm up. It'll be, let me wipe this out really quick. Again, it's going to be a half a cup of corn syrup. I'm just making sure there wasn't any water left in my measuring cup. You don't really want to mix water and chocolate. Now I am going to put this in the microwave for about 15 seconds. Not as long as what I did with the first one, just because this chocolate is much hotter than my chocolate on the stove was. It's still thinned out really well. What I'm going to do is just dump that in there. This is where it's also different than doing it on the stove. I'm really just going to fold this, and it is going to seize up very quickly, and it will get overmixed very quickly. You don't want to go to like vigorously stirring this. All right, so I've got it right about there. It's really starting to thicken up and not stick to the bowl, and that's pretty much where you want to stop it. I don't know, you can see there's still a few little lines in there where it's not like completely incorporated together, but you do still just kind of have to stop here. So what I'm gonna do, get some plastic wrap again. Lay that down there. And I'm just gonna pour this right onto my plastic wrap. I'm just gonna spread it out a little bit. And I'll cover it up. The same with this one. You want to try not to get a whole lot of air trapped in there. And what you're going to do is just let this one set. Again, if you can let it set overnight, that's best. If not, it's totally fine to speed it up a little and throw it into the fridge. Get some of this. Just going to flip it over so you can see. See, there's still, well, since I got the plastic on there, you're not going to be able to see it very good, but there are still some pieces where I can tell it didn't really get mixed really well. That's okay, because you're going to open this back up once it has firmed up some, and you're going to knead it. And that's going to bring it back together, and it'll be fine. I am going to put it on the stand so I can stick it in the fridge. I will show you guys. If you overmix your chocolate and it starts clumping, when the microwave for 10 seconds, be okay. That's kind of a loaded question. So try the best you can. It's way better to undermix it, because like this is the white chocolate that we made, and I put it in the fridge just for the amount of time that we made the candy melt. You can always knead it after it has set up enough to work with and work anything back into it. If you overmix it, it's different for each kind. So if you overmix white chocolate, the real white chocolate, you can fix it. I would not put it back in the microwave. My number one tip would be to put it back over the double boiler and just really work it. You'll see all of the cocoa butter like basically come out, and you'll probably freak out. And I've done this several times, and I've thrown it away when I didn't realize I could save it. You just have to keep stirring, keep folding it, and you will work that cocoa butter back into your chocolate. It will take time, like up to 30 minutes of standing there folding it and getting it all incorporated back in there. But you will have saved it and you didn't have to throw it away, so that's a huge perk. So yeah, I would advise to attempt undermixing before overmixing. You're going to spend a whole lot more time with your overmixing. This is starting to set up, but it's still pretty soft. So I'm going to pop it back in the fridge, and I'm going to show you guys, whoa, how to fold this, and also how to bring this one back from being like a rock. Like I said, the best way to do this is to make it the day before you need it, but life doesn't always work that way. I'm going to put this into the microwave for like 8 seconds. Now again, with your chocolate that's been setting for a while, that's super rock hard, don't go popping it in the microwave for 30 seconds because you are going to have a hot mess, literally. It's really only going to need a few seconds. You can see it starting to break. That's totally fine because we can what is the word I'm looking for here? We can knead it back together. My goodness. So it is starting to soften up, but yes, it is. It's clumpy. That's okay. I am going to stick it back in the microwave for like 6 seconds. It'll be the same thing with this one. This one isn't extremely set up, but it's getting there. The edges are definitely closer than the middle. Granite countertops help if, you know, because they absorb heat. So if you need it to set a little bit and you don't want to put it in the fridge, just throw it on your countertop and it will help it set up a little bit more. Alright, so that is definitely softening up. And I'm just going to start working this. This is a little bit of a workout. Just like fondant, I mean, you got to work with it. Hello, Marlene. And because it is chocolate, if your hands are very hot, like I have very hot hands, and it makes working with chocolate and fondant and all of those things a little more difficult. Outside of kneading it, you really kind of have to just let it set. If it starts to get too soft or pliable, just leave it setting and leave it alone, and it'll firm back up. I have to do that a lot whenever I'm, like if I'm making my figures and stuff, I do have to take a lot of breaks. Alright, so this is all kneaded back together. It's not crumbly anymore. And I mean, you can see it's going to hold a shape very well. And this is the real chocolate. So you can see where you could easily use this for modeling things. Like if everybody just replaced this with fondant, I would be completely happy. You can cover cakes with this, and like I said, I'll be using it on my daughter's cake tomorrow, so if you want to see how that works, you'll be able to. I'm going to run and get some food color really quick and show you guys how to color this. Okay, so I'm kind of, if you haven't noticed by a lot of the things I've been doing lately, I'm a little obsessed with Americolor's Burgundy right now. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm just going to take a little bit of it. And unlike fondant or gum paste, if, you know, when you're using this, I'm not going to color all that. You can just leave it setting out. It doesn't need to be covered, anything like that. It's totally fine. Yes. Hello. So, good idea here would be to use some gloves so that you don't dye your hands, whatever color you're using, but I'm a rebel. So, I'm just going to go with it. My family's used to seeing my fingers 15 different colors. It does color very easily too. It's only going to take a little bit. I am working on my silicone mat. I just use gel colors in general, Joe. I would not ever use a water-based color. Deborah, no. I never use the water-based colors because it's just going to ruin your chocolate. I even use Wilton gels. They work just fine. Like I said, I just really love this AmeriColor color right now. So that's what I just used. And you see it didn't change my consistency at all. And it colored really quickly. Even with the Wilton gel colors, it's gonna color really quickly. Yes, you can make a shoe as a cake topper. In the little picture I posted for the reminder for this live, I think it was there was a picture of Peter Griffin on the top of a cake. That was all made with modeling chocolate. Yes, so it will firm up. But like I said, it is chocolate, so the more you work with it, the softer it's going to get. But if you just let it set, like if it starts getting too soft, walk away from it. Let it set, and that heat will come off of it, and it'll be a little bit more stable. Like this has been sitting here for a few minutes, and it's thickening back up. Yeah, that's my two biggest, or really that's my one biggest tip with the modeling chocolate is if you have hot hands, take plenty of breaks to let it stiffen back up. Yes, it colored very well. If you guys want, I can do the Wilton Red just so you can see what that looks like. Because I know red is a very difficult color. Let me go grab that real quick. Okay, so I just bought this one. This is just the Wilton No Taste Red. Try not to mess this white up because I have red all over my hands now. No, you don't have to use oil-based. Just don't use water-based. Like I said, I'm showing you guys with the Wilton just so you can see that it actually will work. Let me get a toothpick. And that was just the Wilton No Taste Red. Hello, Gabrielle. Okay, so that's the red. And just so I can show you, so sometimes you do find these little clumps of the chocolate that didn't get incorporated. Now, you can either just take that and toss it, but if you just like squeeze it, you can just work it right back in. And there's your red. And I actually would like it to be a little bit more red. But, I mean, the point was, it works. Wilton, this is Maricolor over here, Wilton over here. Hello, Jackie. You're very welcome, baby Joseph. And like I said, I am gonna add just a little bit. Yes, the Americolor is the burgundy one, and you can go much deeper than that. I just used just a little bit in there just to show you guys that it will color. It takes color very well. Now, again, like I was saying, since I've been over here working with this so much, this chocolate is getting very soft, but I'll just set it to the side for a few minutes and work with one of the other ones, and it's fine. I'm going to have to move on to the roses in just a second, so we're not here all day. All right, again. So yeah, here's the Wilton Red, the Maricolor Burgundy. Both came out perfect. And you can go deeper with those. Alright, I'm going to pull off some of this semi-sweet chocolate that I did earlier, because if you don't want to use white chocolate, you just want to use the semi-sweet chocolate, you can do that, and I'll show you even, you know, obviously you're not going to be able to color this red or something like that, but you can still turn it into roses and add different, there's different ways to still make it look really pretty. So you can see I just pulled that apart, and it's very pliable, but I'm just gonna knead it together. And this stuff, you really have to be careful. I love dark chocolate, like love dark chocolate. Semi-sweet chocolate is a lot like it, and if you get to nibbling on this while you're working, it's kind of hard to stop. Okay, you can see how pretty that is. I mean, obviously it's got my fingerprints all in it, but it is a gorgeous thing to work with. I mean, could you imagine like an ultimate chocolate cake with that? Use that instead of, well, that doesn't look very appetizing, but use that instead of fondant on a chocolate cake would be amazing. All right, I'm going to show you guys. So even with a cookie, take your vanilla cookie, even your chocolate cookie. Where did my little rolling pin go? There it is. And you can roll this out just like fondant. I did put a crease in there. Roll it out, and I just put all my cookie cutters up. But this stuff rolls beautifully. I've never bought that type of chocolate and tried it. I've always used the Nestle Semi-Sweet. And for my white chocolate, I always use Ghirardelli. I haven't tried the other ones, so I don't want to say, yeah, do it, it'll work, and then you get mad at me when it doesn't. So you would have to test that one up. Hello, Michelle. I'm going to grab a cookie cutter real quick just so I can actually show you guys how that would work. Actually. This is just one of my Petal cutters. Yes, you can use the modeling chocolate as fondant. It works really well. And I'm going to be using it on my daughter's cake tomorrow, so I'll be able to show you guys how that works. So this, like I said, this is one of my Petal cutters that I use for my gum paste flowers, but same idea as a cookie cutter. I just wanted to show y'all. Put that on top of your cookie instead of fondant. Hello, Sherry. The elephant skin are tearing. It is easier to panel than draping a cake. Kelly, tomorrow will probably be anytime between 9 and 10. I'm going to try to get a little bit of an earlier start because I have to have it done before she gets home from school. Elisa, like I said, it is much easier to panel with. If you guys really want to see a cake covered in it, I can do that. It would be on another live because I don't have a cake here right now. But the camera went off. I can do that just so you guys can see how to panel with it or how to panel at all. So back to covering a cookie with this. Can you layer with it? You can layer with it just like with fondant, and it will stick to itself if you're working with it. Yes, Central Time. Sorry. Like here, I'll even take some of this red real quick so I can show you. This is still really soft from when I was messing with it a minute ago. But yeah, like way too soft. Let me use this white one over here. Haha. No, I don't have a bunch of cakes laying around. No, you can't get a dozen cupcakes for 5 o'clock today. Okay, so this is just the white chocolate, and I used the cutter backwards, but just like fondant, it sticks to itself. Oh man, I just had a good idea. So you could, we just did the marbled red velvet and red velvet and cream cheese cookies. You could marble your chocolate and your vanilla, your chocolate, dark chocolate and white chocolate, modeling chocolate, and put it over the top of your chocolate sugar cookies or your vanilla sugar cookies. That would be so cool. Okay. How long can you store the cookies with modeling chocolate at room temperature? Depends on the temperature of your house. It is chocolate, so it will melt. However, you can put it in the fridge. So yeah, really, Verlaine, I'm probably not saying that right, but in my house during the winter, I probably would only leave it out on the counter for like during the afternoon. But definitely probably not overnight, anything like that. Because yes, it's a stabilized chocolate, but it is still chocolate, which is why I know we talked about yesterday shipping it. I'm in southern Oklahoma, so this is definitely not going to be shippable for me, especially during the summer. They would open up a box to a melted chocolate mess. It would be ridiculous. I mean, like I said, my hands are hot, and it's like sticking to my fingers now. I'm going to rinse that off, and I'm going to show you guys how to make these roses. Yes, Deborah, that marbling thing just popped into my head, and now I just really want to do that. I think even the marbled roses, that could be gorgeous. Actually, let's just do that. Now, I don't know. I've seen y'all's marbled cookies that y'all have been doing. And like I told my husband, some of them are looking a whole lot better than mine. So good job. I don't know how y'all are marbling, but you're doing an amazing job. We do have a group full of talent. Like you guys all do some amazing work, and I hope you all keep that in mind. So I'm just going to take the same amount here of the white chocolate as the dark chocolate. What I'm going to do is break it in half, and I'm going to twist this up. And it's not super even, but that's okay. That's part of the look. I'm going to twist this one up. I'm just going to smash it down a little bit and kind of mush it together. I'm going to roll this one back out. Do the same thing with this one. Yes, good, Kelly. So do I. And I feel like in this industry, you can learn something every single day. Like, you will never know it all when it comes to the cookies and the cakes. Okay. So I've marbled that white chocolate and the dark chocolate. What I'm going to do is you can kind of take my technique and change it to whatever works for you, but with these roses, you just kind of have to, like I said, you figure out what works best for you. I picked this way because it was just the easiest way for me to figure it out, and I did like the fact that not all the roses come out the same. They all had their own look to them. So what you're going to do is start with your middle. it doesn't matter what color the middle is because you're going to cover it up. You want to make like a cone. This is going to be the very middle of your rose. This is going to be a larger one. This will be like our cake roses. I mean, you could put this on a cookie if you wanted to, but I guess that depends on how much chocolate your client really wants to eat. But these are better for cakes. So I just took a little piece off of there, and I just kind of flattened it out with my finger. This is, oh, it's over here. A little tip that you can do, because like with my hot hands, is you can take that and put it on a piece of parchment paper and then flatten it out that way. And that's going to keep it from sticking to your fingers as much, and then it comes off of there much easier. You don't have to like peel it up off your mat. So I'm just going to make a bunch of those. And like I said, yes, you could definitely use gloves. Now, like I said, the awesome thing about flowers is none of them look alike. They're not perfect. Your petals don't have to be either. You basically just want to get some similar sized circles made. This is like my favorite thing about the flowers. Like I said, you have a lot more room to be creative and just kind of go with it, because it doesn't have to be perfect. There is no such thing as perfect. And you can make these as little or as big as you want. As far as the roses go, the roses can be as little or as big as you want. Another little reason why I make all the circles first is because by the time you're done, that first one will have stiffened up a bit, and it's not as soft from playing with it so much. Depending on how many rows of petals you want to do, they go in odd numbers. You have your middle, and then you have 3, 5, 7, 9. That's how you want to do your petaling. So like I said, if you just want to do the middle with 3 petals, or, you know, the middle with 3 and then 5, however you want to do it. The largest I've done is the 9th. And that is a huge flower. This one I'm just going to do 5 because that's how much chocolate I marbled. These last 2 are a little bit smaller, but I'm going to show you how to work with that. This will also be the same concept if, I'm just going to let these cool for just a second, be the same concept as using a strawberry. I'm gonna, while this cools down, I'm gonna show you how I do the strawberries. So you take your strawberry and gather this up in your hand and grab as close to the bottom of that as you can and kind of twist it off. So now this is still together. Why you want this still together is because you're going to cut, obviously like you do with your cherries, you're going to cut your middle out, wash them, and then dip them in your chocolate. Once you've dipped it in your chocolate, you basically have this same to work off of. This is going to be the middle of your rose. So you dip it in your chocolate, let your chocolate harden and cool and everything like that. You can even put it on a skewer. You can use a lollipop stick, probably way cheaper and much better, but you would dip this in your chocolate and then put it into your strawberry and then dip that into the chocolate. You want to make sure that you have completely sealed this area because strawberries are juicy, and when you put this in the fridge to set, it will start to leak some of those juices. But if you've completely covered in chocolate, you usually seal that in there. So why I keep these. Once you have that done, you can take a tiny bit of chocolate. I'm just going to pull this off so I can show y'all. So let's just say that I had covered this in chocolate. It's all done. I've gotten my petals on there. I would put a little bit of chocolate right around here, and then you take that and put it right back on there. And that is the floral part, or the green part of your rose. It's just a way to put that back together, and it all stays together for you. So we'll use the chocolate on this one. And also, I have done these without the skewer on there and use that on cakes. It's another good, if your cottage laws allow you to use chocolate covered strawberries, it's another great upsell because it's not just an ordinary chocolate covered strawberry. It is a rose chocolate covered strawberry. If you can't sell them, make them for your friends, make them for your family. If you have daughters, even sons. Okay, so we're going to put this rose together. I mean, and really, you could even skewer these if that makes it easier, and then that way you're not touching this continuously. You can do that and then pull it off when you're done. So we'll do that just so I can show you. So here's my petals. We're going to take the very first petal, and what you want to do is just bring that around, and that is your middle of your rose. Right there. The chocolate stuck to itself. And there you go. So now you're going to put 3. I start right where my seam is. What you do, put it on there so it sticks up like that. I'll show you why in a minute. Looks goofy, but just bear with me here. Then you have your second one. Again, just stick that on there so this is sticking up. Then I'm going to go with my third one. I'm going to stick that on there. It's kind of heavy. Then what you're going to do is lay them all down. Now what you can do, kind of play with these a little bit. Give them some movement. Move these petals around. There you have, I can't see what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. There you've got, this would be perfect just like this. And I am seriously loving the marble part. And because, like I said, and I keep saying, it is chocolate, so you can keep playing with this. Even after it sets up, maybe you don't like the way that petal looks. You can move it around. You know, make it look how you want to look. Oh, And because I can't count, I didn't make enough. Let me make one more petal. I'm going to take this off here so I can set it right there. I sat here and told y'all 1, 3, 5, 7 and then didn't even make enough for my last row. All right. Okay, there's my 5th petal. So again, I'm just going to hold it this time. Find another one of your seams. It doesn't matter which one, wherever you want to start. Put it down on one side, but not all the way around. These are going to be a little bit closer together because you want to be able to fit 5 on there. This one is really soft. So then just get those down. And we can start kind of moving it around. And if it's too thick of an edge, just pinch it together and make it a little thinner. And this is starting to get really soft in my hand. I'm just going to set it down here. You could let that set for a little while, come back to it, see what you think about it. Now you could even go a step further and take some white, color it green, and put some leaves on there. Melissa, I've tried that and I've never really gotten it to work exactly how I want because it just gets too sticky. So I always just use my fingers and just kind of pinch the edges. To get them to look how I want. But that is, I mean, you can do, like I said, smaller ones, larger ones for your cakes. And that is a great way to to decorate your cake. No, I don't dust with anything. Yes, if it starts getting sticky, it's just, you know, messing with it too much and whatnot, but give it 5 minutes. Walk away from it for 5 minutes. And like I said, it's not like fondant, so you can leave it setting out and it's not going to be like it's not going to get hard. Well, it'll get hard, but it's not going to get like crusty or anything like that. I don't know how well I'm explaining that, but it's a lot more workable as far as, you know, if you let gum paste or fondant sit out and you try to work it back together, you're going to have like these hard chunks and pieces that you're never going to work back in there. The modeling chocolate's not going to do that. So while you're working with it, it's fine like that. This will set up and it's not ever going to become super solid, but it will become durable enough to where you can move it around, put it where you need it, and it'll stay there. You can also put it in the fridge, and that will stiffen it up quite a bit more. Yes, Melissa, I'm the same way. And that's why I started using this to make my figures, because it is, the workability of it is just so much better for me. I mean, especially for like those of us, that are working at home that have kids. How many times do you have to step away from what you're doing? If you're me, like all the time. So this is awesome. Let's see. Oh, I was going to show you guys a way to do a smaller one. I'm going to use this burgundy. See, this has really stiffened up. It was super soft whenever I was coloring it and everything like that, which that's understandable. But it will thicken back up so that you can work with it. Scoot that over here. I mean, Melissa, I've got 6, but 3 of them are in school half the day, so my hat's off to you. I would love to homeschool, though, to be honest with you. If I could right now, I would totally do it. And yes, great taste, Deborah. I mean, really, though, if you think about it, if this was a fondant rose, are you just going to take a bite out of it? Probably not. I would totally just take a bite out of this rose. And like I said, the upsell. Chocolate is expensive. And honestly, how many cakers in your area can make flowers, figures, decorations, things like this out of chocolate? How many people offer that? I'm pretty sure it's not a whole lot. Be the one that offers that. Corner that market. Okay, so I got to talking, and now this is way softer than I wanted it to be, but I'll work it out. I'm going to show you guys how to do like a really small version, thank you, of a rose for like your sugar cookies. Just grabbing my razor here. And I really don't condone cutting on a silicone mat, but I'm going to be really careful. So what you want to do, this is not super thin. But roll that out. And then just cut it straight on both sides. And again, it does not have to be perfect. Yes. This is more of a do as I say, not as I do situation. Don't cut on your silicone mat. Just don't do it. Unless you want to throw it away and buy a new one. Okay, so you have your strip there. What you want to do I'll show this 2 different ways because I know that we don't all have tools for all of this kind of stuff. And I can't find the one I need. And really, I'm just going to like give you guys some huge honesty right now. These are just some super cheap modeling tools I got offline, and I highly recommend spending a little bit of money in this area, especially if you're going to be using them. I mean, this one continuously comes apart, and it's the one I use the most, and every single time I just want to throw it across the room along with whatever I'm working on. So just like I tell you guys in, baking, what you tell your clients, you get what you pay for. These were super cheap and they're not really a great quality. So think about that, just like you tell your clients to. So if you have these or anything like these, you can use this end, and what you're going to do is just cut these little humps out. Yes, I have the heavy metal ball tools, and yes, these are amazing. I love these things, and there's like a million different sizes that I use all the time. I have a few more in here, but I dangerously arrange my tools, so I don't want to cut my finger. But I mean, they're like little tiny ones that are great for like eye sockets, all kinds of things. Like, I use these all the time, and they are heavy, but they're great. And ouch. Okay, so that's, just use that little, I really think this is like a mouth shaping tool. Hello, Cassandra. Hopefully everybody is good. So you can do that. Now, if you don't have one of these, take something like a toothpick, a scribe, anything that even has a little bit of a point on it. Well, that's obviously food safe. I'm going to get a toothpick. And what you can do is just kind of mark in there for those little round points. This doesn't have to be perfect, and I know it doesn't look like this end, but that's okay, because I'm still going to show you how to shape it. It will still work. Alright, I'm going to cut this in half. So, for a little flour, for like a cookie, all you're going to do is roll this up. It's going to look really weird at first, but just play with it. My hands are so hot right now. I really do not like the middle of that. I'm going to show you one other thing. Can you do the camera? Okay. Version number 2, and we're almost done. I'm going to make a really small cone, really small, just like I did for the big rose. Just a little teeny tiny one. Then you could use the molds. You just press it down in the mold, just like you were with fondant. The semi-sweet is Toll House, just the Nestle Toll House chocolate. All right. This is getting really soft again. And actually, I can try to show you with the mold. I don't actually have a rose mold, but these are just one of my petal boards that I use on my my flowers. I'll just show you, like, if I tried to do a middle. You would want it to be, make sure it wasn't chocolate that you had been messing with a whole lot that was super soft. But it's definitely moldable. And this is just a flower middle that I have. So yeah, like I said, I would probably use one that hadn't been softened. For me over here messing with it so much. Now, like I said, these are not meant to be molds, but it took the indention. So yeah, you could definitely use those in a mold. Like I said, just make sure that it's not a super soft piece of chocolate that you had used. Okay, so back to this little itty bitty rose. You can make it exactly the same way. Make the big one. Just little circles. And again, yes, that would probably be the best bet, would be to chill it. Thank you, Cassandra. The little tiny roses are obviously a little bit more of a pain, but it's worth it. They're cute. And a great upsell. I'm going to keep telling y'all to upsell. So, the little bitty middle, and you could stick this on stick it on a toothpick. Be like the world's tiniest chocolate rose. My hands are incredibly hot. Just do it exactly the same way. Only put one side on so that you get the layering like a rose. Then go back and get them together. This is super sticky right now. Yes, you can absolutely make them and keep them in the fridge. Because like I said, if you do the chocolate covered strawberries this way, I just keep mine in the fridge also. I wouldn't store the modeling chocolate itself in the fridge. Just wrap it in plastic wrap, put it in a plastic container, and then keep it like in your pantry. That's my best advice on storing the modeling chocolate. Right. this would look, this would make an awesome succulent because it's a whole lot thicker, but I was using it so much. Thank you. I'm not a fan of it at all, but like I said, leave it to set, let it harden up a bit, and then go back in like we did with this one and pinch your edges, adjust your petals, get them where you want them, and then let it set. Once you make a few, come back to that first one and make any adjustments that you need to make. But those would look awesome on your sugar cookies, and it's perfect for Valentine's Day. So that is basically it. I covered cutting it with the cutters for your cookies, and I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe it was Deborah that had the picture of hers covered in chocolate, and she had a really good tip of, while your cookie is still warm, put your modeling chocolate that you've cut the same size as your cookie on it, and it will slightly melt it onto your cookie. You just don't want your cookie to be hot, because like I said, it's chocolate and it will melt all over. So there it is. And like I said, coloring it, we had our Wilton, this is just Wilton No Taste Red Gel, made the red modeling chocolate. So you can use Wilton's on there without a problem. This one was Americolor. Perfect. This is just the white, the chocolate. Endless possibilities with this, guys. Marble other colors too. This was the one I made this morning. It's slightly pliable still. It will get basically rock hard, you know, once it's been setting for so long. That's normal. It's okay. Pop it in the microwave for like 8 seconds and knead it back out. Don't over microwave it because it will just completely melt and be ridiculous. And you'll be super mad, but it's not my fault because I told you. So yes, it's perfect. I will get that one really quick. Because I didn't show you guys the finished candy melt difference. So this is the white chocolate, actual white chocolate, and it is good and stiff. This has been sitting out on the counter, so it's a little more soft. This is actually cold. This is the candy melt, and it hardened up way quicker, but you can see there's not really a color difference. So if you were wanting to do white candy melts because you thought it was going to be a different color, they are virtually the same. So there you go. You have semi-sweet. Now I've got them mixed up. This is the candy melt. This is the white chocolate. And color them. Make all your things. Marble them. Put them on strawberries. Put them on cakes. Don't use fondant anymore. Use chocolate. But alright guys, for those of you that will be joining me tomorrow to do my daughter's cake, I will be using modeling chocolate to make a dog coming out of a cake for her, because that was her special request. So I'll also be like torting and filling my cakes, so you can see how I do all of that. But I hope you guys have a great day. I'll be around all day for any questions, and I'll see those of you that are interested tomorrow. Thank you, and bye.